levels of evil, and ISIS takes the cake. They are what they did with kids and training kids and burning people alive and beheading, American citizens. There's a tinge of that to every one of those, but none of them reach the level of what ISIS did, and their fanaticism with Islam, and um, the way of which they carried it out, thinking they were just, the whole time, and it's just not just as if they were commanded by God to do these things. Um, it was just insanity to watch videos of 7-year-old little boys carry an AK through a house, a mock-up house, with a tied-up Kurdish prisoner at the end to clear it like it was a training target is what it was, and treat him like he was a paper target. The way we would treat paper targets is the way they'd train these boys to run through houses and shoot targets on real Kurdish hog-tied prisoners. It was they were different. They were a different type of evil, and I enjoyed every single one of them we killed. Every single one of them deserved it, and one of those few instances, I don't care how it sounds, I wish we'd have killed more. As long as there's one ISIS person running around that was attached to what happened in Syria, I hope the Delta Force still has targets to hit. I mean that.
I think you should. Personally, that's just my opinion, that I try not to interject on these things, but
yeah. I'll tell you why PTSD isn't as big as an issue with you, because some people look at it this way: it's like, how can you, like, human life is precious? How can you take a human's life? All human life has value. I disagree. I almost said I respectfully disagree, but I don't. I just disagree. I viewed them as two-legged dogs, and I was just hunting. I was hunting two-legged dogs, and I didn't view it that way. Right, wrong, or different. Say what you want about me. That's how I view it. And speaking, I don't think I've brought up Bill as much as I have this interview. Let me tell you another piece of sage advice Bill gave me, besides the dead woman in Afghanistan, my first mission, was talk about dead kids eventually. And he goes, I know it sounds like dark humor, but it's not funny, but it's true. We, a dead child laying on the ground on target, and he says, "Hey, Brent, baby rats don't grow up to be beautiful little bunnies." And you can not like that saying, and you can think that everyone deserves a chance at life, but man, there's a lot of truth to that. Like, at some point, that's what they've been raised in. That's what they're going to grow up to be. And don't even start. Are you advocating with killing children? Never pulled the trigger on a child in my life. But they are the casualty of war at times. And I'll tell you what, I'll deal with it the way I have to. And whenever you're brave enough, whoever wants to be in the comment section to deal with it, you tell me how you deal with it. Till then, that's how I deal with it.
The one part that I will tell you that you're wrong on is, I think you're a little generous calling them dogs, because dogs are fucking awesome. So rats is a more fitting description, I'd say. So I'm glad you brought that one up.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So was it more personal with ISIS, or were you still just a professional doing a job? And maybe weave into that question, did you enjoy killing those guys more because of who they were?
I wouldn't say there's always a level of it's personal. It varies, and I'll tell you why. When I was a Green Beret, a lot of things got personal because you collected the intel. You like that target. You carried that target from its inception until the very end. Whether you collected the intel, executing that target, collecting SSC on that target, sending up, well, before you even get that, executing that target, writing the whole plan for that target to get authorization for, then executing it, then the SSC of it, and then the post-op production of it. You own that thing from cradle to grave. And so it always gets personal because as you're collecting the intel on this person, you really get to know what they've done wrong and what removing this guy will do. A lot of things got personal when you're on Nota DA. Some of them got really personal, to be honest with you. We it got so personal. We hit a dry hole in a guy, and I hated him. God, I hated him. He was my job to collect intel, and he was my target set. We dry holed him, and I burned his house down because I hated him that much. I said, "Well, then you're not coming back to our house. I'm going to burn it down." That created a little bit of controversy between us and the commandos because there were some Qurans in that house. And they said, "Hey, if you want to burn a house down, can you just talk to us about it first, and we'll do it right." But it gets personal. At a tier 1 level, it gets less personal at times because it's a quick turnaround. Here's the packet. This is tonight's guy. This is tonight's guy. No, if we get a chance to, which we don't always, but if we get a chance to find out what he's done, it gets personal. If he's a recidivist, fancy name for if he's been caught before and he's in a jumpsuit and people have already risked their life once to get this guy, and now we have to risk our life again to get him because the system decided to let him out. And I assure you, if he fell on our target radar, you screwed up. Like we just didn't catch you we just didn't catch you writing a nasty email. You've done something when you fall on our radar. So to see a guy that we've captured before get let go, it gets personal when the level of risk that is in this job on these objectives, and now you got to go do it again. It gets personal. ISIS was personal for a different reason because of the amount of bad they have done and the amount of they really kind of took social media and YouTube and the internet. I think they did that more than anyone else. I'd have a hard time getting an argument against that, with the way they sensationalized their violence. It allowed us to watch a lot of videos of the things that they were doing and even promoting, even like Coptic Christians in Egypt, marching them out to the beach and then just murdering all of them, burning the Jordan pilot alive while he's still in a cage.
Yep.
Again, not taking these kids and turning them into senseless killers and murderers. What they do to women, beheading Americans. It made it very personal with ISIS that this is probably the worst we've seen, and they have got to be stopped with prejudice.